Can you believe that there are some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast? Shame on you!
Shame on you. My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kiki Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog, what is it called again?
Podcast, period.
You're ugly. You're empowered, approved. All right.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome! Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby. What is up, everybody? Hey, what do you think of the new camera? What do you think of the new view? What do you think? Is this good? Is this bad? Should I go back to the old way? Hey, this is the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J-Cal, and each and every Tuesday, I come to you, my hashtag NWA fam, to talk all things NWA. Of course, we're talking about power, but there's a lot of stuff happening in and around the NWA, and we're going to discuss that with you, that hashtag the NWA fam, and I'm excited to do so. It's Tuesday. It's my fun day, and I already see some pals in the chat, so let me say what's up to guys like Mike, Media M5, Steve G, that guy Shrek. Shrek was with me on TikTok just a few minutes ago. Willie Bowen's in the house, and the Noob is here. What's going on, Noob? I hope you guys are all doing good today. We were talking all things wrestling over on TikTok this weekend. Your boy Jay is gonna do back-to-back nights down in Los Angeles at the Kia Forum to go check out some AEW. And I'm kind of excited about it. I'm hoping to see former NWA World Champions like Sting and Christian and guys that should have been NWA World Champion like Samoa Joe. And I'm hoping to see, honestly, I know it's not going to happen. I know he's injured, but I'm hoping to see Bryan Danielson as well. I know his time is now fleeting in the world of pro wrestling. I know he announced his retirement. I'm kind of hoping to get to see him as well. Hey, what's up, Noob? J-Cal TikTok dance. Yeah, I do the little TikTok dance sometimes. Do my thing. I do Renegade. That's the one that I do. Shrek says the NWA really did screw themselves over with that CW deal. I don't. Again, there's so much misinformation that's out there. There's so much to talk about, but there's so little that I can say because everyone that's telling you that the NWA screwed this deal, I mean, what deal are we talking about? Nothing has been announced. No deal has been announced. Nothing from CW, nothing from the NWA. Nothing's been announced. We know that according to William Patrick Corgan, we were told by the president of the NWA himself that he has 2 deals. But we don't know what those deals are. And nothing more was specified in that interview that he had on Busted Open. In fact, he finished that interview by saying when he had the channel, when he could announce what was going to happen next, he would come on Busted Open and say it. So like this conspiracy theory that the cocaine spot ruined their chances at being on the CW network. I'm going to tell you right now, the negotiations with the WWE have been long going. This didn't just happen overnight. Wrestling doesn't work like that. Television doesn't work like that. These deals take months to figure out, even longer in some cases. Hell, the WWE NXT doesn't come on to the CW until 2024, September of 2024. We're nearly 1 year away. Less than a year, but still quite a long time. And I'm not saying that that their deal is now skewed or anything else. No, that's the deal. WWE is going to be on NXT, but again, as far as the CW, I said NXT. NXT will be on the CW, but as far as we know, man, there's nothing that's changed in the NWA's TV deal. There's supposed to be a reality-based TV show and a wrestling show. We know Power's the wrestling show. Wrestling, Power could go to any number of channels. And if it goes to CW, I mean, maybe it'll be on the app. We don't know. And honestly, according to Billy Corgan, they weren't making a whole lot of money on YouTube. And if you look into it, I don't have specific numbers, but you could go to there's the website socialblade.com, and Social Blade, it isn't 100% factual. But if you look up socialblade.com right now, and then you search the NWA, and it's an analytic channel. It tells you essentially like what analytics are happening. If you go to their YouTube channel, which right now has over 269,000 subscribers. They have over 17 million video views, right? 17 million. On a day-to-day basis, they're earning anywhere between or I guess on a monthly basis, they're earning anywhere between $153 to $2,000. And I can guarantee you $2,000 doesn't cover what it costs to produce a wrestling show. No, not even close. And you can't run an indie show for $2,000. I mean, maybe some of you can if you know a guy who knows a guy, you have a free ring or access to a large building, but you can't even run a wrestling show for $2,000. So if that's the case, if the NWA is really, let's say we're just going to go on the high side guarantee of the estimates. These are estimates from the Social Blade. If they're making $2,500 a month on their YouTube channel, which sounds good to a guy like me, but it doesn't cost me anything to do a podcast. It doesn't cost me anything but my time. But there's a huge payroll that the NWA has. There's the cost of running a building. There's a cost of the ring. There's a cost of the cameraman, the director, the producers, the lighting, the smoke machine. Everything has a cost, guys. And you can't pay for everything for $2,000 and expect to make a profit. So any kind of deal with any kind of network would probably be an upgrade over YouTube. Dave Scooby says, NWA is going back to the territories. You got to live the lifestyle. Got to make those towns. Maybe they can bring in a wrestling cocaine. You caught me, Scoob. I should have read the whole line first. They can bring in a cocaine wrestling bear. There we go. Willie says, does the NWA still have a TV deal? As far as I know, right? And I only know what Billy's told me. Until they don't have a deal, they have a deal. Until it's announced from the NWA that they no longer have a deal, or Billy Corgan comes out and says, we don't have a deal, then they don't have a deal. He said recently in an interview with his hand over his heart that they have a deal. So, hey, man, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Has Billy strayed us away before? Sure. But what's the benefit in lying about a TV deal if he doesn't have one? The deal with the Top 20 network, then it must be the Tyrus's Culinary Show at the Food Network. How pissed would everyone be if that was the case? How mad would you be if the show, the NWA show that's so heavily touted, was Tyrus making cuisine? Oh, God. I would be pissed. That'd be the end of that. Let's see. Yes, please like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, tell a neighbor, be a friend, tell a friend, all that good stuff. 2 tickets remain for the Roberts, excluding general admission seats. So the NWA live audience has been very well. And that's probably where they're making a lot of their money, is the live gate for a lot of these shows. I know that at the 75th anniversary show, it was a pretty packed house. I don't recall what the ticket prices were, but I think it was like I want to say it was like $50 for ringside. I don't remember specifically, but I'm sure there was money to be made there, and there's the TV tapings as well. They do charge for admission for those. It's not free, so it's also there's some money being earned there. But again, that's not enough to offset some of the costs for this. Some of the guys' bookings probably are up to about $2,000. So can we bring back the anabolic steroid? That's what the 80s are all about. Tony. Hey, maybe. That's all I'm going to say about that. Our boy Shrek said he would laugh about seeing Tyrus eating or creating a cuisine show. Come on, Jay. You hate seeing Tyrus eat 3 plates of rotisserie chicken. Willie would love that. I wouldn't hate seeing Tyrus do it. I just don't think I would want to watch that. It's not real compelling programming to me. I'm doing good. Life is going well. I didn't share the ringside news article from earlier this year about Natalia Markova current contract status. Hope you saw it. Yeah, I did, Noop. That was thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I did see it. Jeremy says, I wouldn't mind a Tyrus cooking show from as big as he is. That means the food he cooks is good, or who he pays to cook the food is good. Tyrus couldn't have a Food Network show. By the time the meal is done, it will be gone before the cameras roll. They should bring in Tony Khan, since he knows a lot about cocaine. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Go Canes. So as far as TV news goes, there hasn't really been any more information. So as far as I know, at some point in 2024, we'll probably see Power shift from YouTube onto either a top 20 network or an associated streaming service with that network. That's just my assumption. That is, no information has been given to me. I do know this, though. There's 2 shows. If we don't get 2 shows, we riot. This weekend, the NWA returns to Sarasota, Florida, and there's some pretty big matchups already announced. This is going to be a live event at the Robarts Arena, an arena that they haven't been to in over 30 years. And we have a World Heavyweight Championship match when Jax Dane challenges the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion EC3, also at the Robarts Arena. Is Kenzie Page will defend against Samantha Starr in a venue that her family helped make famous. So, I mean, there is some good action happening this weekend in Florida. Now, before we get to the rest of the, tonight's television taping matches, I mean, we see that the Brothers of Construction will be there. We've got Mercurio, Markova, Ruthie J, the World Junior Champion, the World Heavyweight Champion. All the champions should be there, right? You got the U.S. Tag Champions. You got Murdoch and Murdoch and Knox. You've got Ricky Morton. So it looks like all the regulars will be there, although kind of conspicuous by their absence, I don't see La Rebellion for this event. So maybe they won't be there. But we also have to recognize that the invasion of Fight the World Wrestling will also happen the day before, November 17th, in Bloomingdale Avenue in Riverview, Florida. Again, it's going to be the stars of the NWA invading Fight the World. And you're going to have a Billy Corgan in-ring appearance. I don't know exactly what that means. I honestly don't. But what I'm hoping it means is that, tread carefully here. Lately, when Billy's been at a venue with a special announcement, well, it's happened once so far. He's announced that there's a territory, that there's a new working relationship with the local promotion. That might be what happens this weekend with FTW, but FTW really would need to step its game up. That's the promotion where Mercurio and Markova do a lot of training for new students. The promotion itself, the wrestlers look fine. It's just everything else that I've seen about the promotion certainly lacks. The website is not something to brag about. The YouTube matches I saw were not well produced. The wrestling is fine, but you need to be able to showcase this stuff. And I don't feel like the FTW is the right partner right now to team with the NWA. Now, if the NWA is going to help provide, or if somehow, some way FTW is going to upgrade their production values, both on their web and on their social medias and on their YouTube channels, then this might be a good thing. But I feel like there might be better promotions in Florida that might make more sense, like Boca Raton Championship Wrestling, and I've already partnered with the NWA, I believe, on 2 occasions. Coastal Championship Wrestling, that also runs in Nashville, but also a lot in Florida as well, might be a better suited partner than FTW. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I can't, again, I don't know for sure what the comments are going to be, if there's going to be any comments at all. It just says an in-ring appearance, so maybe he just comes out for a photo and a hello. It's going to be in Florida, which is, I haven't mapped it out, but I would imagine that it's not too far of a drive from Billy to go from the FTW show to Sarasota, where Bobart's Arena is going to be. Noob says that Mercurio hasn't been on NWA TV for the past few months. Markova and Mercurio got the Mark Merrow and Sable treatment as of late. Yeah, I mean, you could kind of say that, except for, Mercurio hasn't ever been a star in the NWA. He's been mostly working enhancement matches. He's never really been shined as a star. He was on the Australian tour, but really didn't have much of an impact. Where, Mark Merrow, I mean, he was the Intercontinental Champion when he was in the WWE. He had a pretty good run before the whole Sable thing, and she was with him for the most part. But I would say Mercurio never really got to that level to be Mark Merrow, if that's an expression we're using. But yeah, we're looking forward to having a great show. The NWA, and this will probably be more TV taping, so hopefully we'll get to see that matchup between Jax and EC3 much sooner than later. Remember, they only taped one day on November 4th to give us this season of Power. I hope this is the continuation of that. Mercurio and Natalia's breakup is good because I don't like to see intergender matches in the NWA. Same. I'm not a big intergender wrestling fan. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that has a place in the NWA, and that's just my personal opinion. I haven't really, I don't know what Billy Corgan's choices are. I don't know what he prefers in terms of, am I still there? I don't know what he prefers in terms of the way he books the NWA. But personally, I would rather have, less intergender matches. I'd rather have no intergender matches. I think you have enough good talent and a big enough roster that it shouldn't really warrant the need of intergender matches. I know Kenzie Page, Kylie, and even Ella Envy have wrestled intergender matches outside of the NWA. We know Max, who doesn't confine to one gender as non-binary. Max has wrestled both men and women in the NWA. I feel that should probably be the extent of it, because I think it kind of muddies the waters if you have multiple talent wrestling both genders. It just makes it a little bit confusing, at least to me. So at least with tonight's show, I think we're going to have a pretty solid NWA power tonight. We know of course, tonight's episode will feature a submission match with Koa Lakamana taking on Blake Bulletproof Troop. Now, Koa has been more or less like I hate to say it, but he's kind of been like a whipping boy for the NWA. It seems like whenever someone needs to do the job, it's going to be Koa Lakamana. Unfortunately, he recently was beaten pretty severely by Tom Latimer when Kelise tried to get involved for her efforts. She got speared by the former Women's World Champion Camille. Of course, they were also part of the tag team war, the Hardcore War, and that didn't end well for either one of them either. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the submission match tonight. Of course, Blake Troop lost to Jack Stain at the pay-per-view, Sao Wen. He lost in a submission match, a match that he should be a specialist at, considering the fact that he's, an MMA fighter. It kind of makes me question what they're doing with this guy. He has a ton of talent, a lot of untapped potential. Chris Silvio has been very good on the microphone. And of course, I don't expect him to lose tonight, but I also wonder what they're doing with Blake Troop and where they see him, because obviously he's not the superstar that he probably wants to be. But I don't even know if they're even treating him as a potential threat to anybody on the roster at the moment. I almost feel like he's working enhancement. Of course, maybe they'll change it up. Maybe he gets a few victories tonight and the ball starts rolling. But as of late, Blake Bulletproof Troop is somebody who I want to see be a dominant competitor for the NWA. Just hasn't been. And I don't know what they're going to do with him going forward. With that being said, our boy Dave Scooby says, if Maddie's gone from the NWA, put Misa Kate, not Nissan Kate, with Aaron and Blunt Force Trauma. I like Misa Kate. I'll say that much. She's really grown on me as a wrestler. In a lot of ways, I feel like she's probably one of the more polished talents on the roster. And I feel like she's an automatic threat to either title, both the television and the world championship. And really could be, we saw last week when she took on Max the Impaler for the NWA Women's World TV title. She really held her own. Obviously, Max is a very dominant competitor. Max has been in the ring with both men and women, like we said just a few minutes ago. Max has zero fear. Max is literally traveling the world, winning titles, adding to the lure. I think Max was in the UK just this past weekend defending the TJPW International Princess title championship. And I expect to see Max again out there just being the dominant force that Max is. And for the NWA's credit, they're putting some of these matches on the YouTube channel. Make sure you check them out. They have the match where she won the International Princess Championship in Japan. They recently put up the match of Max in the Netherlands when she defended, I guess, the NWA title. Let's see. Shrek, no, I didn't hear about the Fale Dojo drama. What happened? Jeremy's not a big Troop fan at all. They're not using him in a way that would make him be a good dude. Former NWA champion should have the edge no matter what. Sean, are you talking about EC3 and Jack Stain? I'm a little lost. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. James Bell says, I like Max in the junior heavyweight tag matches, but junior heavyweight tag matches? What do you mean, James? But they need to let Max cut loose on the men and let them do on the women. Max is legit strong. Max, look, to me, Max feels like the illegitimate offspring of Vader. And, you know, in that spirit, I could see Max being very Vader-esque. They've kind of shown glimpses of that, especially against some of the female talent. But I don't know, man. Max and Max going ham on the men's division, I don't know if that makes the same sense. Like if you put Max in the ring with, for example, Thrillbilly, there's obviously a huge disadvantage to Max in size, strength. But who knows? Maybe they can make something happen. Not against bigger men. Gotcha. So you're saying like maybe against guys who are in her stable, like Gags and Sal. Understand. And then Sean talking about Jax and Troop. Got it. Yeah, look, it was easy for me to say. It was a submission match, so you would kind of have to give the edge to Blake Troop. But you're right. Jax Dane is a former world's heavyweight champion. The NWA is acknowledging this, actually giving him an opportunity against EC3 this weekend. First of all, yes, more Jax Dane, more shots at the 10 pounds of gold, more Jax Dane wearing the 10 pounds of gold. I know that EC3 is on a quest to become the most active world's heavyweight champion and take on all comers, but I wouldn't mind if that was derailed by the Dane event. You know, the man that held the national title, the North American title, the world tag team titles, and of course, a former world's heavyweight champion. You know, he defeated Hiroshi Tenzan to win that title. And the person that beat him for that title was Tim freaking Storm, the first NWA world champion of the Lightning One era. It hasn't been that long since Jax Dane was world's heavyweight champion. And if we could see a true to form return for Vanilla Godzilla Jax Dane, well, then that's going to be a thing of beauty. And who knows? Who knows? But would you pop or would you boo if Robert Bruce Tharp accompanied Jax Dane in that main event against EC3? Would you pop if Tharp stood by the side of Jax Dane in that title match? I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I'd probably laugh. Chris says Fale is basically pimping his students out of money, selling them a dream about working in Japan. Has any of his students made it to New Japan yet? I mean, the thing about this, and this is what you hear about any wrestling school, is any wrestling school you go to, the first thing you should look at is who's teaching it. And there's lots of wrestlers out there who are trying to pimp out wrestlers to get a dream job with their prospective company. If the Fale Dojo is trying to lure students in to promise them a dream of working in New Japan, I would be, as a student or would-be student, the first thing I would do is take inventory to see how many students have made it to New Japan. And if the answer is 0, then probably that's not a good place to go to try to get to your dream. Is Fale a male moolah? Yeah, maybe. Maxie and Paler have fought weaker Joshi wrestlers in TJPW, but they did fight strong Joshi wrestlers like Asuka, Kari Sane, Io Sky, and I'm not going to pronounce that right, Gia or Hikari Shihida. I'm not sure. I don't know much about the Joshi wrestling scene. There was a promotion that years ago that I did kind of follow, but that was years ago. So I don't really have answers for you like that. I know Kari Sane and Asuka are now in the same group with Io Sky as part of Damage Control. Willie Bowen said if he was going to wrestle, he'd rather wrestle for the NWA or the United Wrestling Network, Impact, or All Japan Pro Wrestling, all great places to work. Interestingly enough, it was about, was it 8 years ago? I think it was 8 years ago today. Has it really been 8 years? Could it be really 8 years? I think it was 8 years ago today that I actually got to go to my second second, why am I drawing a blank now? A Lucha Underground show. And it's interesting because both Io Sky and Kairi Sane, I believe, both worked for Lucha Underground. And let me see. Yeah, it was, just pulled it up here. It was November 14th. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the year here. 2015. So yeah, 8 years ago today, I got to go to Lucha Underground for the very first time, and that was a pretty cool deal. Obviously you can't do it now, but it was such a surreal experience to be a part of that environment. It was, it was a very short-lived company, but very groundbreaking. Prince Puma, aka Ricochet, came from there. A lot of guys got opportunities. Of course, the Lucha Bros, AEW. There was a lot of positive momentum that occurred because of that promotion for a lot of talents. However, a lot of people didn't like it because of the abnormal storyline. And, MLW tried to recreate it with their Lucha Azteca. And Sean Vega says, I wish Tony Khan had invested in Lucha Underground. Steve G says, Lucha Underground was 8 years ago. Yeah. And Doty's telling me, I better broaden my horizons when it comes to Joshi, other than those big leagues and the weaker. I will say this, though. Thunder Rosa came from Lucha Underground. Swerve, good point. Steve G says Swerve came there. Willie Mack had some time there in Lucha Underground. My phone is blowing up, and I have to tell people to leave me alone. It's Tuesday. I'm doing a podcast. Fiona, what's up, Fee? Yeah, Lucha Underground was very interesting. Like I said, 8 years ago today, I was at one of their events, and it was very eye-opening. You got to see Mil Muertes, Blue Demon Jr., of course, Rey Fénix, and Penta, Sierra Miedo, the Lucha Bros. It was a good time. And it's funny, the impact that Lucha Underground had on American television, because we saw that kind of translate with AEW. Brian Cage, for crying out loud. A lot of those talents got those opportunities in Lucha Underground and really ran with it. And the influence with Lucha Libre, you see now AEW has a roster that has a partnership with both AAA, Lucha Libre, and CMLL. You're seeing a lot of more Lucha Libre talents. Hell, even in the NWA, we were getting talents coming in from Lucha Libre AAA. It's been a lot of fun. And Chris Drummond says, Lucha Underground isn't a promotion. It's a TV show owned by Amazon. Steve G is also right. Steve Cobb was there. Yeah. And why is my phone blowing up? Anyways, so tonight's card, again, we're talking about we just mentioned the submission match between Blake Troop. We also have in action Mo Jobari, who makes his NWA debut tonight in a World Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, who is this guy, and why is he getting frontlined for a world title shot at Colby Corino and that World Junior Heavyweight title? But let me tell you a little bit about Mo Jobari, because I think if you know his background, you might think maybe he might be prime for this opportunity. Jabari is a student of the Lance Storm Wrestling Academy, the Storm Wrestling Academy in Calgary. Yes, he is a Calgary, Alberta native. And he's getting this opportunity essentially because Kerry Morton came to his backyard not too long ago, back in July, when Kerry was still junior heavyweight champion, the world junior heavyweight champion, and Jabari beat him. It was a non-title match, obviously, but I think that set the ball rolling, and the NWA office was definitely watching, definitely observing, and Jabari got his opportunity, will be getting his opportunity tonight. And Fiona says, Mo is a new wrestler for me, so looking forward to seeing him in action. Well, like I said, he's a former world junior heavyweight, a former student of the Storm Wrestling Academy. and he's held championship gold for and I'm gonna mispronounce it, but it's Prairie Wrestling Association in Calgary, High Impact Wrestling, and Real Canadian Wrestling. In fact, the title that he recently held for PWA, it's now held by the Perfect 10, and now I'm forgetting his real name. Anyways, so he's had a lot of good matches over the years, and again, he's been training he's been wrestling since about 2017. I really feel like he's going to be a good addition to the junior heavyweight division for the NWA. For Colby Corino, this will mark his 4th title defense in the NWA. Now, he's had over 12 defenses in non-NWA rings, and he's held the title for roughly 80 days. So I figure like this match could go either way. Jobari's a debuting talent, getting an opportunity that's not normally afforded newcomers. But, putting him in the ring with Colby Corino, another guy who's been willing to take on all comers, I feel like this is a great opportunity to see some good wrestling. Chris says Mo is also co-owner of Dungeon Wrestling. Dungeon Wrestling, I believe that was Bret Hart's promotion, isn't it? It is connected to the Hart family, and currently their world champion, or not world champion, but the Stu Hart champion is Chris Adonis, our own Chris Adonis. Maybe there's a work in play here. Maybe we'll see some sort of partnership develop between those two promotions. Nick Aldis was formerly a Stu Hart champion for that promotion and wrestled with them until recently when he signed with the WWE. The other title match that's happening tonight, of course, is Pretty Empowered defending their tag team titles against the King Bees. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Ella Envy has essentially had a combined tag team title reign of 314 days, with her partners being Roxy, and of course, that was less than a day, but Kenzie Page and now Kylie have combined to make 314 days as champion. This will be only the 2nd title defense for Pretty Empower since winning the titles at NWA 75. But the team that they're facing, Charity King and Danny B, have been mostly working in Texas. In fact, the two were brought together for the first time in Mission Pro Wrestling as a tag team. However, the pair are a product of Booker T's Reality of Wrestling School, and I guess they were endorsed by Jazz to get this opportunity to join the NWA. Before teaming together, King and B feuded in Texas against one another. So it's kind of interesting that they decided that they'd make better friends than enemies and have decided to become a tag team. Now, the other problem I have with this one is they're not a super well-established tag team. They've only been teaming since 2021. So for them to get this opportunity in the NWA against Pretty Empowered, I'm kind of floored that they get this opportunity. Now, when you're endorsed by Jazz, that's saying a lot. So hopefully this is an opportunity for the King Bees to really make a statement with the NWA. But however, if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting against Ella Envy and Kylie, that's for sure. They've been very dominant as the stable, and the Pretty Empowered usually has a trick up their sleeve every now and then. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Let me get a drink of water here. I'm getting a little thirsty. Hey, wait a minute. That's a dubby. That's not water. The next match is for the world's heavyweight championship, the 10 pounds of gold. And it's going to be against Talos. And like you, I'm saying, why is Talos getting an opportunity to fight against EC3? What has Talos done in an NWA ring to set him apart from guys like Dak Draper or, heck, even if we're just taking competitors who've been in the NWA for a while, I mean, why not AJ Kazana getting an opportunity to wrestle EC3? What has Talos done inside the NWA to warrant this title match? Sure, him and Daisy Kills were able to squeak out a victory against the Country Gentlemen to win the U.S. tag titles. The next pay-per-view, they lost them to Kratos and Odinson. So that leads me to believe that maybe this match just might be a tune-up especially when he'll be facing Jack Stane this Saturday night in Sarasota, Florida. But let's talk a little bit about who Talos is, because I think a lot of people are under the assumption that Talos is a walk in the park. And I wanted to deter you from thinking that. Now, Talos debuted in February of this year as the partner for Daisy Kills. In fact, he replaced another giant because Daisy Kill has a Rolodex, apparently, of giants in his cellular phone. Talos has had 17 matches in the NWA, most of which have been tag team matches with Daisy Kills. They were the U.S. tag champions and only lost those belts recently at Samhain. As a singles wrestler, though, Talos has only had 2 single matches in the NWA. One of those was a victory over Judas. So again, there's not a whole lot to build a case for Talos to have this opportunity against EC3. There's not a resume under the NWA banner that would make you think that he deserves a shot. But let's dig a little bit deeper and see who Talos is on the surface. Because Talos briefly competed for the United Wrestling Network, and although he didn't really bring the house down, he was also a regular for Coastal Championship Wrestling before joining the NWA. Now, when Talos was competing for CCW, he was also a former Boca Raton champion, the BRCW heavyweight champion, while competing in Coastal. He was the Boca Raton heavyweight champion. He's also currently the Allied Independent Wrestling Federation America's champion. Now, the AIWF has a story very similar to the NWA with a lot less history and legacy behind it, but essentially a collection of independent promoters working together as an alliance. They've been doing it, I believe, since the mid-90s. And in fact, a lot of former NWA members are a part of that group currently, where Talos is still the reigning America's champion. So like I said, his resume is extremely light when it comes to challenging for the 10 pounds of gold. But we also have to understand that EC3 has been very clear about his willingness to defend against anyone, anywhere, almost any time. Even some of the matches that he had to cancel, he's rescheduled. He's supposed to be wrestling in Colorado on December 9th. Of course, December 2nd, he's going to be defending against, if he's still champion, he's going to be defending against Fodder at his own Exodus Pro Wrestling. And he's had victories over Jay Bradley, Delson Alexander, Tom Latimer, just at Samhain, Lord Crew. He's been a guy who's proven himself to be a very bona fide world heavyweight champion, having, he defended the title 4 times before walking into Samhain and beating Tom Latimer, a guy who a lot of us expected to walk away as champion. Fiona says, I just can't get on board with Talos and Daisy Kill. Dodie says, Billy somehow liked Daisy Kill and Talos so much. Where in Colorado? Jeremy, I'll get that information to you later. Detonation Championship Wrestling, I believe, is where it's going to be. I'm not exactly sure where that's at, but I'll make sure you get that information later. So with EC3 stepping into the ring, of course, on any given Tuesday, a man could win and a man can lose. And if you have 2 hands and a fighting chance, right? Thanks, James Ellsworth. Anything could really happen. But again, as a betting man, EC3 has a lot stacked up against him. However, he also has the road to Jack Stane that he is certainly hoping to get to. And then, of course, his match is already scheduled in December. I don't see him losing here. And so if I was a betting man, I would say all the champions will retain. I don't see anybody upsetting anything tonight. But, it's power. Anything can really happen. And with that being said, I feel like last week's episode was very good. We are talking about having a TV-ready product, and I was very happy with last week's episode. And I'm hoping that this is what we're going to get going forward, is a TV-ready product. And if the show is set to debut on any TV network at any time, I think the NWA is there. I think with good storytelling, we're getting a new cast of characters, it seems, each and every week. We're seeing more and more new faces. Mo Jobari this week. Who knows? Maybe we'll get the Carnies next week. We had the Heat Seekers make their debut last week. I'm excited about what opportunities we're going to see for the NWA moving forward. With that being said, I keep saying that. With that being said, we have to also acknowledge Exodus Pro Wrestling that are having their big event on December the 2nd. I know it's still a little bit away, but they've already announced the first 6 competitors for that show. Excuse me, the first 6 competitors for the NWA Midwest Championship. There is the Dante Casanova. There is, oh man, I guess I should have looked at these names a little bit closer. Dante Smiley. There is AJ Ziggy. Andreas John Ziegler. I don't think he's any relation. Let me see. Who else is there? Of course, Lord Crew. I should have had that printed out before I went to that, and now I don't have the rest of the names. So, of course, those are the first 6 names that have been announced, and we'll have to see what happens next with those 6 competitors. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to walk away as the champion of the NWA Midwest? Do you think they're going to be featured on NWA programming? I mean, that's kind of what we're hearing. I'm kind of interested to what you guys are thinking. Devin says, was sucked into Steve Wilco's. This one chick was swearing her man was cheating. She had no proof but was upset. Oh, that's the talk show. Hey, man, that's all right. I can't expect to beat Steve. I don't have that kind of following. But yeah, like I said, this the other competitors for it in Group 1, like I said, Lord Cruz, the Cal Hero, and Certified Luke Curtis. In Group 3, it's Dante Casanova. I just said his name a second ago. Dante Smiley, and the other Dante, and of course Andreas John Ziegler. That's going to make up the first 2 brackets. I don't know who will be announced next in this tournament, but this will happen at Exodus Pro's Colder Weather, which takes place December 1st. And let's see. Also coming up for the talent of the NWA, you want to stay tuned to what's happening at WrestleCade, because we know that appearing at the event will be your world's heavyweight champion EC3, the women's tag team champions Kylie Page and Ella Envy, Thrillbilly Silas Mason, the national champion will be there. Alex Taylor will be there. And there's also supposed to be more NWA talent appearing. I'm not sure if they'll be featured on the pay-per-view, but it's something you certainly want to consider checking out. I really feel like there's a lot of good things happening right now for the NWA. So Jay might have missed it, but that Lucha mask. Yeah, man, that's it's actually a Blue Demon mask, but over at where was it? IKEA, they have these glowing mannequin heads, so I thought that was fun to put that on. But yeah, so we've got a pretty good card for tonight. We've got WrestleCade coming up. We've got Exodus Pro coming up. Of course, there's this big announcement that's going to be happening at Joe Kazana Promotions. That's happening the day after December 2nd, which I believe that's a Sunday. And then, of course, this Friday and Saturday, back-to-back NWA events. Of course, NWA's invasion of FTW Wrestling. And, of course, the big show that's happening, the TV taping at the Bobarts Arena in Sarasota, Florida. when your world's heavyweight champion defends against Jack Stane and the women's world champion is scheduled to defend against Samantha Starr. Samantha Starr's family helped build that building. Not build it, but fill it with people, that's for sure. So I think there's a lot of good things to be talking about in the NWA. It seems like that we're in a right fever pitch. Doty says, if Exodus Pro and other territories get showcased in the NWA official YouTube, probably I'm going to check in because I have no plan to afford tons of streaming from each territories. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I know initially Exodus Pro was scheduled to be a part of that Premier Wrestling Network, and I don't think you can do all of it. It's hard, man. Like every subscription service is $10, and there's like the IWTV Premier Wrestling Network, and I think there's like another one. And each one of them were $10. It's kind of, it's not super expensive, but it's also kind of when you start adding them all up, it gets hard to follow each and every promotion that works with the NWA. Doty says most likely Joe Kazana Promotions and FTW will be the next territory. Now we'll know for sure on I guess Saturday at the taping in Bobarts because FTW is the night before. So we'll see what happens if they get that bid to become a territory or if it's not. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the FTW's look and feel. They have some talented individuals working there, but I just don't feel like it's up to the NWA's, needs. And this kind of reminds me of some of the wrestling promotions that were associated with the NWA in the past that had great shows, great talent, but, skimped when it was in some of the important areas like production, website, social media, YouTube, the actual TV shows or not even TV shows, but just the live events. What kind of ring is it a decent looking ring? Are they bringing in a decent house? We know Joe Kazana Promotions, if they are the next affiliate, they do top tier promoting. We know that Exodus Pro has looked very well in its 2 shows already. So we'll see what happens with FTW. Again, I'm not going to hold my breath for it. James Bell says JCP gets announced soon, and the creation of a circuit where NWA talent can work consistently is starting to take shape. I think Chattanooga, TWE2, is going to be the third organization added. I don't know anything about the TWE in Chattanooga, but there are a lot of promotions in Tennessee that I think could be great additions to a circuit. I mean, we mentioned Joe Kazana Promotions, but there's also the Henry family. That's Kenzie and Kylie's family. They run Crossfire Wrestling that uses quite a bit of NWA talent in the Tennessee area. There was Saul, but I think they closed shop. There's also the School of Morton, Ricky Morton's school that I know they do some live events. And I also feel like another promotion that would make a lot of sense is the former NWA Smoky Mountain, and that would be Innovative Pro Wrestling. So I'm not sure what we're going to get next, guys. I got to be honest. It's still reading the tea leaves. It's kind of hard to tell. But if I were a betting man, I would say Joe Kazana's probably in. But we might also get FTW. Also, if I was a betting man, not if I was a betting man, but if anyone wants to hear my opinion, I think Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW, would make a lot more sense as a partner with the NWA as opposed to FTW. But that's just my own opinion. Doty says if some wrestler in the NWA is a promoter or son of a promoter, then most likely they'll be the next Billy territory. I don't think it's going to be that easy because again, you also don't want to oversaturate the market. And I honestly, I think it's going to be one promotion in Tennessee, not multiple. There's still lots of places that the NWA could benefit from having a associated school or a promotion to work with. Again, they have a loose affiliation with the School of Morton because Ricky and Kerry both represent the School of Morton and the NWA. Like I said, Crossfire Wrestling has a loose affiliation with the NWA because they book so much NWA talent. And of course, the women's tag team and world champion both came from Crossfire. So I think at the very least, these are things and places to talk about, but I don't know that they're going to become part of the NWA. And then there's other serviced non-service to NWA areas like in Texas, that would make great for an NWA partner. But guys, I'm going to wrap the show up today a little bit early. My phone's blowing up and I've got to take care of some business outside of the NWA. So I really appreciate you guys being here, a part of the podcast live stream every Tuesday. This is one of the fun parts of my week, every Tuesday, chatting with you guys about the NWA. We'll be back on Wednesday. Well, I won't be, but Jeremy will be here. Dave Scooby and Tim from the Alliance Gold will be here as they discuss all things NWA, as well as the United Wrestling Network, the MLW, and of course, some fantasy booking with Dave Scooby. And then on Thursday, we'll recap Power and talk about just things that are happening in the wrestling community with the Alliance Guys podcast every Thursday, every Wednesday, and every week. We appreciate you guys being a part of the show. I'm going to wrap it up now and say thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for checking out the Pre-Party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.